Hi, Alan here, rvacrossamerica.net, coming to you from my command center inside my camper, now pushing 7 years old and still doing great. I want to talk to you today about a conversation I recently had with a prospective client. I have a lot of conversations with clients who are coming on as my concierge clients, whether they're looking to buy a camper or sell their camper. And most of those conversations go really well. And many of those people go on to become clients of mine. These didn't. Um, they called me up with a not unique situation, but they had come up with a unique and uniquely poor solution. This post, by the way, is going to be at rvacrossamerica.net /RV buying mistake. All right, not plural, RV buying mistake. It's a colossal mistake. And there are actually several mistakes they made that I've posted into my post, but I just want to call it RV buying mistake because this mistake is so big. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I tend to be very direct, and I call it as I see it. I mean, that's how we are from Jersey. We call it as we see it. And I did my best to contain myself as I was on the phone with the head of this household. It was a woman from one of the eastern states. And so I knew she had a similar personality to mine, and I knew we weren't going to get very far. They had already placed a special order on a giant, and when I say giant, I mean giant, a fifth wheel toy hauler that was over 46 feet long. The intent was this was going to be their first RV. They were going to put the entire family in it. It had the rear garage. It had a mid bunk living area. It had, of course, the front bedroom. Of course, it had a large living area, a loft, several slides. I think there were four slides in it. And it was made by a manufacturer that's not known for making a really high quality product. And she really contacted me to say, look, the dry weight is 15,500 pounds and what do we need to tow it with? And of course, that piqued my interest. And I said, well, what are you buying? What do you have, or what are you getting? And that's when she explained to me it was her first camper, and that they were going to take the whole family on the road and do at least a year or two of family travel and homeschooling. And I endorse all of that. I think all of that's a great idea, but not in a 46-foot camper. When you get out there, if you're an experienced RVer, you find out very quick that while you can drive 46-foot campers down interstates, and while you can park them at KOAs and Good Sam RV parks and other private RV parks, which are basically a large parking lot with a little bit of gravel and a little bit of grass, and usually if it's a KOA, a pool, that's to me not RV camping. I mean, to me, RV camping is getting off the grid, getting out into the national forest, getting into Bureau of Land Management lands, going into state parks, national parks, places like that, and just getting out of the way. And the moment you get onto backcountry roads, and from the part of the country they're from, I know enough about the East. I used to live there. Skyline Drive, a lot of the roads in West Virginia, a lot of the roads in Pennsylvania, especially in the mountains, and not to mention New York and New England, are windy switchback roads. They're hilly, and dragging a triple axle 46-foot behemoth, and they wanted to use a single rear wheel 1-ton truck. Not going to work. First of all, when you start loading up all the family stuff, assuming there are no toys, which they said there would be no toys, you're at least 2,500 pounds of stuff, maybe about 3,000 or a little more. So you're up around 18,000, 19,000, which is really stretching the limits on what a 1-ton truck can do. So my recommendation immediately was to go to a 1.25 or a 1.5 ton. But before we even got there, I said, are you sure you're really locked into that camper? Now, I know when you place a special order, dealers take a 10% deposit. Dealers usually want to make good money on that purchase, so they don't discount the camper very heavily. And, I explained to him how they could probably get out of it and why it was such a colossal mistake, which again, by the way, I detail all of this in rvacrossamerica.net /RV buying mistake. So that's where you're going to see me go down a bullet list of here's why this is such a terrible idea. It's not just the roads can't accommodate it. It's not just, and I'm talking about secondary and tertiary roads. It's not just that the RV campsites that you really want to be at can't accommodate it. I mean, most state parks and national parks, 35 feet about does it. You might be able to squeeze a little longer in some of the sites. You might not squeeze as long in some of the sites. I mean, I know a lot of the national parks, and this is not limited to the West. I spend most of my time out West, but this is certainly not limited to the West. So we went back and forth for a little bit, and I could see it was going nowhere. So we ended the conversation, hopefully on a positive note, but it was what it was. By the way, if you're interested in buying a camper or selling your camper, just give me a call. I'm in Mountain Time. I'm at 307-269-2546, 307-269-2546, or you can go directly to my website at rvcrossamerica.net/buy sell, BUYSELL. And that's where you'll learn more about what I do and how I do it. I also wanted to take a moment out. You know, silver and gold have made an incredible run in the last few months. And I'm not a prognosticator. I'm in no position to give you investment advice. So don't take this as such. But at one point along the route, I bought these things called Goldbacks. And this is a one, this is a five. They're small enough to fit in your wallet very easily. The one, it doesn't really correspond to $1. When I bought these were about 3.75 each. They are recognized by several states and they are recognized by a lot of vendors in some of those states. So if you go into a coffee shop or a small shop, mom and pop business in Wyoming, I think in Montana, in South Dakota, and Utah, and several other states, and you say you take Goldbacks, there's a reasonable chance that you're going to get a yes. But there is also a market for buying and reselling these. The vendor that I'm going to recommend to you, which is at rvcrossamerica.net/goldback, and it's Goldback, or you can just go to my post again at rvcrossamerica.net/RV buying mistake, and you'll find a link to it within the post. These have appreciated about 20 to 30% since I bought them. They're now close to $5 each for the one, and they have real gold in them, and it's a nice piece of artwork. I mean, it's a really interesting piece. They have real gold. I think this is 1/1000th of a gram, 1/10,000th of a gram. I'm not sure. They're not on a pound for pound basis the best value for gold. In other words, if you want to buy gold and pay as close to spot as possible, you're not going to buy Goldbacks. You're going to look for gold rounds. You're going to look for gold eagles, which are still quite a bit above spot price, and or you could look for gold bars. Those are the closest thing that most of us can buy for spot price. And by the way, I've got a guy that I can recommend for that and for silver. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be glad to give you a referral to the fellow that I use with one of the big national companies that deals directly with the U.S. Mint. And I do like buying gold eagles. I do like buying silver eagles. But here you're paying for the technology because this is kind of plastic, and inside the layers of plastic are actual gold. That's why I say it's a 10,000th of a gram or a thousandth of a gram, whatever it is, it's got actual gold in it. You're also paying for the convenience because you're not going to take a gold eagle, you're not even going to take a silver eagle and walk into a coffee shop and say, I'd like to buy my coffee with a silver eagle. There is a reasonable shot that you could bring in a Goldback and bring it into a coffee shop, especially if they've already been exposed to this. And they say, sure, we'll take them. And here's our exchange rate. You know, one of these right now, I think from the vendor I use is worth about $4.80. This one would be 5 times that because the five means on five versus the one that it's got 5 times the amount of gold foil in it. All right, fine gold foil. And I know for a fact that they have the gold in them because I follow a fellow who actually melted it down and talks about how he weighed it out, and it actually comes in a little bit over what they claim is supposed to be in these Goldbacks. So rvcrossamerica.net/Goldback. or rvcrossamerica.net/RV buying mistake. Again, this couple, this family, um, bought into a world of hurt if they actually go through with this purchase. And from the last I heard from them a month or two ago when we talked, they're going through with the purchase. So all I can say is to them, good luck. Um, it blows me away when I even see how much the unit has depreciated in the 2024 year on dealers who are trying to dump them because nobody wants these things. So when they go to resell it, when they find out that everything I told them was true about not being able to take it where they want to go and having all other kinds of issues, um, they're not going to get any significant money. So this is a financial decision that they're making that is going to literally cost them tens of thousands of dollars to fix it, so they turn around and buy the right camper for their family's needs that may not be as luxurious in the inside as this thing they're buying, but it'll be built a heck of a lot better because, again, anybody who comes to me, I make sure that they buy the small percentage of campers that are well built. And, I make sure that they're buying what's right for them and that they can actually use it once they have it. This 46-foot thing, they're not going to be able to use unless their world is KOAs and Good Sam campgrounds. And from my conversation with them, didn't sound like that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to give their kids a real lifetime experience, and I commend them for that. But their approach, no, not going to make it. Anyway, Alan here, rvcrossamerica.net/RV buying mistake. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Hey, give me a thumbs up here if I deserve it. Um, Leave me some feedback. I'd love to know to subscribe. I'm trying to grow the YouTube channel. I'm trying to get the word out further on this. I've got more posts coming up in the near future. Going to be talking about my arrow gardens. This is the arrow garden behind me is just in the process of being regrown. The arrow garden over here is a bit more mature and is providing me with some of my salad greens for dinner. So I love these arrow gardens. I also recently got into broccoli sprouting. I'll be talking to you about that soon, along with a bunch of other stuff. And I'm going to share a really interesting post next on the history of Anaconda and Butte. I'm still in the Anaconda area. The Anaconda Butte area is historically very significant. I didn't even know before I got here that Butte was the wealthiest community between Chicago and San Francisco at one point early in the 20th century. And I also didn't know that right where I'm staying is in the nation's largest Superfund site, which, seeing that I come from Jersey, there might be some poetic justice to that. Anyway, Alan here. You have a great day. I'm talking better. I'm feeling better. Things are working out better, and I'll have more news for you soon. Take care.